Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. MC-Mura here, and in today's video we are checking out the season 5 changes, and we are now checking out Gill. I know Gill was requested by many of the viewers and I'm sorry it took this long to get to him, but of course there are 40 characters in this game, so you know it was gonna take some time. Anyways, let's check out what actually Capcom did to Gill. The first change they did is that they gave him more health and more stun. When Gill came out last season, the average HP for the average character like Ryu, Ken, etc. It was 1025, and Gill launched with 1000 HP. So this was always kinda weird to me. I never understood why they introduced Gill as a low HP character, especially since Urien had 1025 health. So I don't understand that. So now they actually buffed his health. His health now is at an average. And the stun is a little bit above average at 1050. The average stun is 1025. So he went from below average stun to above average stun. So that is really good for the character. The second change he got was to his crouching medium punch. This is now, let's remove counter. This is now +4 in hit instead of +2. And +4 on hit pretty much means that he can combo into heavy shoulder. So pretty much he get to do that now. As you notice, this was 3 hits, right? Previously he had to do crouching medium into medium shoulders, but now he gets to do crouching medium punch into heavy shoulders. This is very good because of course it means that he's getting more damage on his combos, so even something as basic as that is doing more damage, and he gets to have better Oki as well, because the crouching medium punch into the heavy shoulder will leave him closer to his opponent, right? Generally, they all improved the knockback. Now they actually improved the Oki on the heavy lariat or the heavy shoulder, so he is getting more damage and he's getting more corner carry and better Oki. Just the corner carry is insane on the heavy shoulder, as you can see. So this is a very good change for the character. It's a really big buff in my opinion, and it's gonna help him a lot. And of course, because it is now +4, he actually gets to combo it into itself twice if you happen to land it as a counter hit. So that is nice. And of course he gets to combo it into light kick now, so you get to do that. The issue with using the crushing medium punch like that is that on block it's still -2. So I wouldn't recommend using it as a pressure normal. I would use the standing light kick and the standing medium punch. I will say these are your better pressure normals, but now out of crouching medium punch you get that. But again, the significance is comboing into the heavy shoulder. That is the important part. They also buffed his cryo rice kick. It is this anti-air, and they buffed it in the anti-air department. The hitbox is a little bit forward. It is not that significant. It's like just a small tidbit, kind of like a couple of pixels. So I don't think this is gonna be a big deal, but now it is slightly better at anti-airing forward jumps. I mean, it should help him, I guess, but it's not that big of a deal. Like, if you've seen the hitbox viewer, it was a very slight change. And now it is +5 on hit instead of +3, so you actually get to combo this now, which is fine, I guess. And on a counter hit, if you happen to land this, you would actually get a crouching heavy punch. So now, on a counter hit, you get to do this, which is fine, I guess, but I don't understand why you would wanna, why would you do a -7 move point blank to get a counter hit anyways? And I am pretty sure on Retribution, he could already do that anyways. So I'm pretty sure this was always a thing in Retribution. So I'm not sure what is the point of the added plus frames here. If someone is a guild player and have like an idea of why this is actually more useful than it used to be, please let me know. The other change is to his Pyro Quarrel Kick, and Pyro Quarrel Kick is the forward heavy kick. It is this attack. This is of course -6 on block, as you can see, and they added the pushback on block, so pretty much this is now, it's gonna be harder to punish. Gill is pushed further out, so it's gonna be harder for your opponent to punish. Of course you still have to space it, but it is now a little bit easier to space it so that you're safe. So that's a good buff for the character. And of course, they also extended the proximity block range so that your opponent will be forced to enter block stun from a further distance. So good changes for that. This actually will make it harder to get whiff punished. The other couple of changes was to his light shoulders, and light shoulders changed in interesting ways. Light shoulders generally hit twice, right? So as you can see, the attack is 2 hits. And what happens is when you hit your opponent in a juggle, only the second hit actually connect, right? The first hit grounded only. So what they did is that they buffed the damage of the second attack. The move itself still does the same damage, so this still does the same damage, still does 80, but the second hit is now doing 50 out of these 80. The point here is that on juggles, he actually now get to do more damage. Since only the second attack is connecting, he's getting to do more damage. So this is a pretty nice quality of life change. It should slightly improve his combo damage. It's not gonna be that big of a deal because it is just 10 damage, and at this point the scaling had already kicked in. So it is not like a big deal, but it is a nice quality of life change. Now you get to do at least a little bit more. And on the cryo shoulder, they increased the stun. Now it is doing more stun actually. Or they redistributed the stun so that the second hit is doing more stun. They also increased the hitbox of the second hit. Again, this is to help him with juggles, right? Now the second hit will be easier to land in juggles. So both of these are actually really cool changes. The final couple of changes to his shoulders are to his heavy shoulders, which the first I already covered. The opponent stay longer on the ground. Basically, this allows Gill to get a little bit better Oki, right? If you notice on a dash and then walk, I was still +9, so you actually get to like kinda comfortably meet your opponent here. So that is nice, right? So this is the first change, and this applied to the heavy and the heavy cryo and the heavy pyro shoulders, right? Both of them got this change, which is a nice quality of life change again. And of course, one other thing they did is that his pyro shoulder now travels the same distance as the cryo one. I guess the cryo one traveled further. It used to travel full screen, so now both of them travel the same distance. Don't know if this is a really big deal, but you know, it is what it is. It's a nice change at least for the character to keep him a little bit more consistent. Another change they got is to his V skill 1. It is now a little bit faster, which it's faster by 3 frames. I don't know if this will open new setups for Gill, or maybe he will have a little bit of an easier time using it in the neutral. Not really sure how this one will play out, but it is an interesting change. Now finally, the final change that Capcom done is that they buffed his Tree of Frost V-Trigger. Tree of Frost is his V-Trigger 2, right? So Tree of Frost is a special move when you press the V-Trigger button. It is this attack. And now he gets to do that 4 times. He used to be able to get it 3 times, now he can get it 4 times. And also he can now cancel into it from EX Pyrokinesis. This is a really big buff actually if you don't play Gill or if you don't play against the character a lot. One of the main issues with Gill is that it was really hard to get into good situations after you have activated the V-Trigger if you didn't activate on hit. So for example, if Dan was blocking and I already did this and I activated on block, it was very hard for me to get a mix-up going, right? But because of this new buff, Gill can now do, say, Crouching Medium Punch into the EX Fireball and then cancel that into the Tree of Frost, which will actually lead to set play now. So the idea here is that Gill can now always do EX Fireball into that and get whatever mix-up he wants, right? This is basically the concept. I guess this is a nice change for the character. It will make his V-Trigger a lot more consistent and a lot easier to use. Now with Gill, if you have messed up the first activation, it is not all doom and gloom. You can still have other chances to make the V-Trigger work. So in the final verdict, did Gill get buffed? I would say I think one of Gill's biggest issues was his crouching light punch. This was completely anemic, and the crouching light punch didn't get buffed. Gill in general is still the same character, he's just doing a little bit more damage on his shoulders, a little bit better OK on the crouching medium into heavy shoulder. So again, he kinda reminded me of Cody and Lucia, where they just gave them more damage. They didn't know how to buff this character, so let's just give them more damage. Which is weird, but I do think the change to the V-Trigger 2 is gonna be very very helpful now, because it was easier to make value out of V-Trigger 1 after the activation failed, but it was very hard to make value out of V-Trigger 2. But again, I'm not really sure, and you have to consider how V-Shift will negatively affect the Frost setups. I'm pretty sure Gill can still cover these, but you know, it will negatively affect them. I think it's undeniable that it will negatively affect them, and of course he gets to have new setups to cover that and everything. So we will see how it play out. Overall, a better character, but I don't think he's gonna be dramatically better. If you have enjoyed this video, please check out the other video. I've already made a ton of changes for all of the other character. Please leave a like or a comment, it helps the channel so much. Thank you very much for watching and stay safe.